Sathyam Sivam Sundaram, Volume 3, Chapter 8. The Shirdi Feet. Baba said, "Why my feet? This day I have installed here the old Baba. I shall give you feet of the old Baba himself." And then he stood on the silk cloth. When he stepped aside, the impression left was not of slender, soft, rather teenager feet of Baba, but long, heavy, ponderous feet that walked the lanes of Shirdi 32 years ago. The bhajan continued continuously during Mahashivratri, the divine night. The next morning, Baba spoke on the significance of the vigil, of the fast, and on the value and auspiciousness of bhajan. Then he himself distributed the consecrated food with which the fast has to be broken. The morning marks the close of the celebrations, but the crowd of over 25,000 persons does not depart so soon, as they wait for the chance to touch the lotus feet and to get a share of the holy ash, which they have been miraculously created for Abhisheka on the sacred day. So Baba goes through the meandering lines of squatting men and women slowly and smilingly, giving each one a packet or two of the curative ash. He autobiographs a portrait of his here and there, where some ardent seekers stand up to get that sign of grace. He touches at the big packets of vibhuti which devotees desire to take home, charged with curative potency by the contact. He pronounced the welcome word santosham or acha or very happy so that they could move away, satisfied that they have had darshan, sparsham and sambhashana, seeing him, touching him and listening to his voice. Many have travelled in crowded trains from long distances into a state which speaks a different language and undergoes huge expenses and gone through physical strain. But these, as well as the sun and the cold, the open shed and the tree shade where they had to spend the days at Puttaparthi, were forgotten of or even welcomed when Baba looked at them, smiled at them, patted them, or gave them the precious lump of food or the coveted pinch of vibhuti. Others stayed on, hoping that Baba will call them for a private talk. They spent the whole day sitting in front of the Nilyam in lines facing each other for the off chance that Baba might come any moment and call them for a private interview. Baba is considerate. He spends more hours than usual in a task of ministration. He selects at first the patently ill, the paralytic, the polio affected, the arthritis patients who sit on chairs, the wheelchair occupants, those with clutches, artificial limbs, plasters, and bandages, and those suffering from chronic illness. He also selects the old, the blind, the defected, and the feeble minded. This takes at least 2 or 3 days, and so one evening, Baba usually announces that those who have urgent work in their own places, either in offices, factories, commercial establishment, or farms, need not wait for his formal permission to go, but can take the announcement itself as permission with blessing, since he is travelling home with each of them, remaining with each of them, and working with each of them in farm or factory. They need not feel that they are going away or that Baba is not by their side. This announcement persuades a large number to leave, but many wait on. They are all my people, my kith and kin. Come for me, Baba acknowledges. From early dawn till deep into night, Baba is busy for more than 10 or 12 days, curing, consoling, and counseling either individually as families or in groups from each town or state, so that the gathering gradually melts and leaves in high spirit, light, full of courage and joy, and a confident gait and a firmer step. The number of visitors get lessened, and in about a week, and after bestowing his blessings upon them all, Baba leaves for Brindaban, Whitefield, 12 miles away from Bangalore. The summer months of March and April he spends there, so that devotees may not suffer the piercing sun at Puttaparthi. Brindaban is a cool, comforting garden with an imposing bungalow situated at one end within an inner gate. Devotees gather here too and engage themselves in bhajan under a vast shady tree. Baba comes out of the bungalow, a beam of charming sunshine, wherever he realizes that people have been waiting too long, and slowly moves amongst the line of adoring, anxious, avid aspirants for grace. He sheds benediction and joy on all. From dawn to dusk here too, Baba gives time and energy to those who seek health, happiness, and wholesome spiritual guidance from him. Dharmakshetra was established in Bombay on May 12, 1968. It is a center where Sanatan Dharma, as well as its offshoots and progeny, Buddha Dharma, Jaina Dharma, Islam Dharma, Zoroaster Dharma, and Christ Dharma are respected, and their followers find friendship and fellow feeling amongst each other. It has also proved to be a source of joy to the devotees in Bombay, as Baba visits Bombay during the second week of May every year, when the city celebrates the epochal event conferring the boon of further spiritual advice. Baba arrives in Bombay on the 8th May, and until the 12th he is cynosure of all eyes, the figure on whom all affixed their minds, the subject of conversation in thousands of homes. The bhajan sessions at Dharmakshetra were thrilling experience for tens of thousands of eager participants, both in morning and evening hours. Baba met sizable group of teachers and principal one evening, Rotarians and Lions another day, and of sadhakas another evening. To the sadhakas he spoke of such matters as to how and roll the rosary, the significance of the number 108, the chanting of Soham as a continuous psychic discipline, and the verity inherent in variety. To the Rotarians he spoke of the utter ridiculousness of imitating the culture of America, a melody that is fast spreading its significance in India, rich in her own invaluable traditions. Some people hear through American ears, see through American eyes, and think through the American brain that they have transplanted into themselves. He said history, climate, vegetation, language, neighboring culture, alien influence, and foes all shape and mold the cultural trends of people. Indiscriminate adoration and limitation tends to destroy individual and social peace. He warned to the teachers. He spoke of the spacious mansion of religion erected by the sages to provide peace, prosperity, and contentment. He exhorted them to study the basic principles of religion and apply them in their own lives. Teacher must be an example of happiness and joy, chiseled by attachment to God and detachment from worldly greed. Then alone can he be a person worthy of his job, he said. Dharmakshetra is a Jnana Vahini in brick and mortar. The entrance door of Satyadeep, the prayer hall, has embossed on it in polished brass the symbols sacred to every religion: the pranava, the cross, the crescent and the star, the conch, the wheel, the flame, the mystic letter Shri, and the chalice. It pronounces every religion in a lamp that illuminates the path of the truth. Every religion traverses the Kshetra region of Dharma, righteousness. That is the message with which man is greeted here. As you enter, there shines facing you the lamp in answer to man's eternal prayer. Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya. From darkness lead me unto light. And on both sides of the lamp held aloft by the hands of devotion, drawn as a fresco on the wall, we have symbols of the five elements, the components of the universe, the primordial substance of Brahman, Prithvi, earth, cognizable through all five senses, having smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. Up, water, cognizable through four senses, having no inherent smell. Tamas, fire, cognizable through three senses, having no taste. Vayu, atmosphere, cognizable through two senses, having no form. And Akash, ether or sky, cognizable only through one sense, having only sound. On the other side, we have symbols of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa: the Jnana Mudra, the oil lamp, the lotus, the moon, and the palms folded in prayers. In the prayer hall, halfway up the ridge, Baba has got painted the Atma Ramayana and the Atma Mahabharata, reinterpreting the great epics into lessons on fundamental steps in the sadhana for self realization. His discourse, therefore, on the anniversary of Inauguration Day was on the message that the building triumphs forth. The human body is Kshetra. It has to be transmuted into Dharmakshetra when the owner of the body discards desire, passion, injurious impulses, and perennious propulsions, then body is Dharmakshetra. On 15th, Baba flew to Ahmedabad, the biggest city in Gujarat state. The Chief Justice of the High Court, Gujarat state, had arranged a reception to which the Governor, the Chief Minister, and other ministers had come. They got a chance to know Baba's universal outlook and his emphasis on fundamental unity of all faiths. In the evening, Baba addressed a mammoth gathering for over an hour. Yoga and Tyaga are two chief instruments of spiritual progress. By Tyaga, detachment, you escape from pathetic entanglement with the objective world. By Yoga, self control, you attach yourself to the divine principle that is immanent in the universe, in truth, beauty, and goodness wherever found, he said. I bless you that you succeed in the sadhana in which you are engaged. If you are not practicing any more, I advise you to take up simple preliminary step of namasmarana, reciting or singing the name. Also reverence towards parents, teachers, elders, and service to the poor, the sick, the deserted, the distressed, the defective. See in everyone God. In that disguise, come to accept the offering of love you place at their feet, Baba declared. Gujarat, already resounding with the sweetness and purity of Sai Bhajan in every village and town, received a great big spurt by this visit. On 14 June, during the meeting at residence of Minister of Agriculture, Sri P. K. Sawant, when member of Maharashtra branch of Prashanti Vidwan Mahasabha, had gathered to solve from Baba many dilemmas encountered during sadhana and study. The editor of Navakal, a Gujarati newspaper, was also present. His paper was then running a series of articles on miracles that he desired to ask Baba about them and publish his answers. Baba graciously permitted him, even encouraged him by his replies. I know the background of your questions, he said with a smile, in order to put him at ease. We must be thankful to the editor as well as to Sri P. K. Sawant, Sri T. S. Bhagde, Speaker of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, and others at that meeting who probed Baba through appropriate questions so that we have from Baba an authentic analysis of the meaning and significance of these miracles. Many amateur sadhakas and half-baked monks declare that miracles are sacrileges on God. They provoke divine anger and invoke divine punishment. One such person, when asked specifically about the miracles of Baba, replied in writing, I do not abhor the performance of miracles, be it Christ, Krishna, or Sai Baba. This opinion is shared by all sensitive beings, he wrote, implying that those who do not share his abhorrence, like Shuka, for example, are not great rishis. He continued his purblind pronouncement: an integrated human being has lot of power over the cosmic happenings, but to interfere with the law of divine is a sin. Dr. S. Bhagavantam, DSc, FNI, scientific advisor to the Ministry of Defense, spoke of this interference with the law at the meeting in Madras in April 1967. He said Professor Gokak read a poem before you at yesterday's session, wherein he described Baba and his activities. He comes like a storm, he pours kindness like a shower of rain. All that was very nice. I liked that. But towards the end, he trespassed upon my field. He said Baba defies the laws of physics and chemistry. Having learned physics and chemistry for many years during my youth and having practiced physics and chemistry for many years later and taught them and learned them while teaching for a number of decades, I cannot understand any individual like you and me, or even like the best of men on the planet, defying the laws of physics and chemistry and getting away with it. Perhaps it is this line of argument that made the person who abhorred miracles to write further. There is no historic moments when we have to interfere with the divine laws, and for this, according to the law of the cosmos, the individual suffers. You cannot get away with it, as Dr. Bhagavantam said. The man who abhors miracles is a popular exponent of Krishna's teaching, but that does not hinder him from writing. Krishna died of an arrow wound and Christ died in a great agony on the cross. So the author seems to say, Satya Sai Baba, beware. Let us listen to what Dr. Bhagavantam has to say. Does he accuse Baba of interfering and warn him of their dire punishment as the arrow killed Krishna in vengeance for the Govardhana Giri miracle and the cross, for the loaves and fish, for the cures and vision? No, he is wiser than the monk. Dr. Bhagavantan says, Baba went on breaking one law after another. I have asked his permission to tell you one or two of these happenings, for they are essential to establish my bona fides. I was an eyewitness to a surgical operation which he performed. When it was over, he turned to my son, who was present, and asked, Have you got a length of bandage? As if he who produced from nowhere the knives and the needles could not produce bandage cloth. My son replied, Yes, Father is the head of this Institute of Science. There is a dispensary here. I can telephone to the doctor and get a bandage strip in 2 minutes. Bhagawan replied, Oh, 2 minutes is too long. Don't worry. Then he waved his hand and the bandage was ready for use. With due respect to the expertise of Professor Gokak in the use of English language, I would have preferred him to say instead of he defies laws of physics and chemistry, he transcends the laws of physics and chemistry. Now, arguing further with my training in laboratory and in logic, I cannot accept that he is like you and me, and yet he is transcending the laws of physics and chemistry. No, how can it be? The fact is, he is a phenomena. He is transcendental. He is divine. This is well-known feature of science. Science develops from stage to stage. Skeletons of discarded theories mark the road along which science progresses. A law is enunciated to explain known laws. The scientists take that experience too and become another law. Since what I have seen of Baba does not come under the known law of science, I simply enunciate the law. Bhagawan transcends the law of science, and this becomes another law of science. Baba himself has referred in some of his devotee discourses to the alleged sin of breaking the law of science, addressing the All India Conference of the office bearers of the units of the Sri Satya Sai Seva organization. Baba said, Some elders tried to confuse you. Krishna showed many wonders with an amazing disregard of the law of nature, and so, according to them, he has to meet death from arrow of a hunter. Jesus, they said, suffered crucifixion, for he too manifested many miracles. The argument is that since I am defying the law of nature, I too will suffer likewise. They hope to create panic and spread alarm, but these are the prattling of weakness, ignorance, and envy. They cannot understand this glory, nor do they desire to tolerate it. On Christmas Day 1970, he declared at Bombay, There are many who cannot bear or tolerate the splendor that emanates from me, the divinity expressed in and through every act of mine. These people label them as act of mesmerism, miracles, or feat of magic. Their vocabulary is small, their experience is limited. They hope by these words to cast a slur. Let me tell you this, mine is no mesmerism, miracle, and magic. Mine is genuine, divine power. Small minds and limited intellects cannot comprehend them. They have no strength or stamina to grasp the magnificence and the majesty. God can do anything. He has all power in the palm of his hand. My body, like all other bodies, is a temporary habitation, but my power is eternal, all pervasive, ever dominant. Shri Bharde, who was in the group present when the editor of Nawab Kal interviewed Baba on this subject of miracles, had himself written a few weeks earlier in the same paper, I have not so far seen any person who does miracles as naturally, as spontaneously as Sri Satya Sai Baba. He stood before the idol of Rukmani at the famous shrine of Pandharpur and waved his hand, saying, The most important jewel is not found on the idol. As he said so, a necklace of gold, the auspicious jewel, appeared concretized. That jewel, which he then placed around the neck of the idol, is still there. Sri Bhagde asked Baba that day, Is your power to create things inexhaustible? Baba answered, It is limitless. It is as the ocean, inexhaustible. Everyone, wherever he is, whoever it be, can take it from it whatever he needs to his heart's content. At this, Honorable P.K. Sawant was emboldened to put in a query. If it is inexhaustible and limitless, why is it not used to cure poverty and misery of mankind? At this, Baba laughed outright. Records the Navakhal. You equate poverty and misery with non possession of things. Sovereigns can command all things that confer happiness and joy, but are they content? Are they having mental peace? My task is to confer mental equanimity. I do not give things to people in order to make them richer. I give in order to foster devotion and faith in them. Yes, a very rich businessman told me while showing a diamond ring created by Baba and placed by him on his ring finger. It fits exactly. Mr. Kasturi, whenever my eyes fall upon this ring and this big sized diamond, I am reminded of the pregnant words with which Baba put it on my finger. This is not a diamond, this is an updesh, a constant warning for you. Die, mind, let the mind, with all its likes and dislikes, disappear, leave you in peace. Baba told Sawant, a sick man comes to me, I give him something I create, vibhuti or some other article. He becomes conscious of divine power. He acquires mental peace that cures, that comforts, that consummates his wish. It is not that I give these things only to those devoted to me. I give even whenever it is necessary to turn afflicted towards God. The editor asked, what is the power which works these miracles? Baba answered, it is wrong to call these miracles or chamatkars. To say that chamatkars are done to earn namaskars, it is only nidarshan, evidence, not pradarshan, exhibition. It is just like a play sport, my natural behavior. It is a sign which helps to turn men into faith, devotion, inquiry, and realization of their own Atma. As the intention or the will arises in the mind, the thing is made. It is ready when I want it. The moment it is willed, the thing comes to hand or happens where I will it to happen. The editor asks, it is said that by miracles, things that are already somewhere are transported. Are they transported or created? This is a question that may have longed to ask Dr. K. M. Munshi, the founder of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. A famous lawyer, statesman, and writer says, Baba happened to perceive that my right hand was slightly trembling, as it always did on account of Parkinson. He rose from his seat, held my finger, covered it with his own finger, and rubbed with the sacred ash which came out of his hand. Then he waved his hand with a sweeping gesture and materialized a ring, which he slipped on the little finger of my right hand. I immediately perceived that the stiffness of the fingers had considerably disappeared. So had the slight trembling in the right arm and leg. When we bade him good-bye, he again created sacred ashes, rubbed them over the right hand, bringing a ring by a pot. Did not surprise me, however. The sacred ash applied and produced by Baba must have weighted a pound a day and could have been stored somewhere else. If so, it is not a pot but something more. Dr. Munshi did not know that the vibhuti created is more than a pound a day on a busy days when grace flows profusely. It is also of many grades of smoothness, of many colors, from white to dark brown, of many tastes, sucrose to bitter, and of many smells, from rose to camphor and iodine. You cannot have all these variety stored in such quantities somewhere and produced when he willed. And what exactly is epoch? It is a word. It is a word that only means mysterious. By using it, one can feel content that the miracles have been explained and understood. Howard Muffet, in his book Sai Baba, the Man of Miracles, writes, the theory behind epochs is that the object which is ready is in existence somewhere is dematerialized and brought in that state by psychic force to the place where it is rematerialized. Very facile indeed, and as if that explanation is clear and convincing enough. I believe it is easier to produce a thing ab initio rather than go to the bother of dematerializing, transporting through long distance by psychic force exercised upon the dematerialized substance and again rematerialize it, all in a trip quicker than the speed of light. Therefore, Baba answered the question of the editor thus: they are all created newly. Transporting means they should come from somewhere else, isn't it? That would be deceit. Things are created at the very moment I will them. I give also things that are found nowhere. This power is impossible to comprehend. I know my occasions when he created such new materials as Sri Ramakrishna's portrait with Baba's own picture at the four corners and in the center, the miniature portrait of the Guru, of the father and grandfather of Dr. Gokak, a Panthji of North Karnataka, created for him. As soon as Baba saw his photograph in the shrine room of Dr. Gokak, the editor asked further questions too. From where have you begun to give these signs of divine power? The answer was from childhood. At school, I used to create chocolates, marbles, and other articles for the children around me. To make things clear, the editor ventured to ask, at what age did you acquire the divine power? Baba said, from my very birth. And after a pause, he added with emphasis, from before that. For was he not at Shirdi as Sai Baba in the years before he incarnated in Raju family at Puttaparthi? And was he not Krishna long before that? Naturally, the editor was struck with wonder. He exclaimed, what that is to say, and Baba continued, that is to say, I resolved upon my birth. I decided who should be my mother. Mere humans can choose only who is to be wife or husband. The mother was chosen by the son in Rama incarnation and in Krishna incarnation. Then too the task for which the birth was decided upon was conferred prema on all, and through that prema foster righteous living. My acts are evidence of divine Shakti, signs and signals of divinity. I am granting things out of prema. My prema will never diminish. I have no desire of my kind. I talk of love. I guide you along the path of love. I am love. Returning to Bangalore and Brindavan Whitefield, Baba was busy with the arts and the science college affiliated to the Bangalore University. The college was inaugurated on the 9th day of June 1969. On the 18th, a gathering of poets met at Brindaban from all parts of Mysore, men who had attained renown as inspirers and interpreters of the Kannada speaking region. Dr. D.R. Bindre, a fiery mystic emitting more light than heat, echoing in verse the tears and tragedies that soften the hearts of man, was there. He translated Whitefield as Panduranga, Pandu meaning white and Ranga meaning field. That line sent a thrill among the thousands who heard him. Dr. V.K. Gokak, who stands in the front rank of Kannada poets and is a great name in English poetry too, was persuaded to read his poems. There were Dr. R.S. Mughali, a doyen of classical studies and romantic poetry, Professor G.P. Rajaratnam, an ardent student of Buddhism and Jainism, a popular poet delineating the feeling and aspiration of common man, Dr. R. G. Kulkarni, saturated with Aurobindo's integral yoga, Dr. G. S. Shivarudrapa, mystic and sadhaka, following the footsteps of the medieval saints of Karnataka, but nevertheless in touch with the heartbeats of Tagore and Gandhiji, and Sri K. L. Shivappa, a warbler of woods, free and bold, sweet and strong. When they had finished reading their poems, Baba sang a beautiful poem composed by him on the Thandava dance of Shiva. It had all the rhythm, power, and cosmic sublimity that words can describe about him. About that sempiternal Leela which swings worlds in the space, Baba is that Kavinka Veenam, the poet of poets, an appellation ascribed to God in the Vedas. In the last week of June, Baba visited Madras. Devotees in their thousands flocked wherever he went and drank in the nectar of his discourses. Baba in his teams had mysteriously appeared at the bedside of a certain Loganatha Mudaliar in Madras and cured him of a brain malady brought about by black magic. "You are God," he said, holding on to the feet of Baba. He decided to build a temple for Baba on his land at Guindy, a suburb of Madras, but he had a dream wherein he was instructed to install instead idol of Shirdi Sai Baba, the previous body of Baba, where therein Baba too wrote to him confirming the dream. So the temple was built in 1948. Baba himself installed the idol. Howard Muffet, who visited the temple and saw the idol in 1968, writes, "Like Michelangelo's marble Moses in a little church in Rome, it gave me personally the immediate impression that it was alive." On the day of installation, the Mudaliars had the unique privilege and pleasure of washing the feet of Baba and placing flowers upon them. They prayed that they may be given an impression of the souls on a piece of silk that they had brought for the purpose. Baba agreed and they applied sandal paste mixed with turmeric powder on the soles and asked that he stand upon the silk cloth. Baba said, "Why my feet? This day I have installed here the old Baba. I shall give you feet of the old Baba himself." And then he stood on the silk cloth. When he stepped aside, impression left was not of the slender, soft, rather teenager feet of Baba, but the long, heavy, ponderous feet that walked the lanes of Shirdi 32 years ago. Baba visited the temple and addressed a large gathering of people there. "This is a temple," he said, "where I have installed 21 years ago the idol of my Shirdi form." The word Vishnu is used for God since it means present everywhere at all times. When people are told about an idol of God who is Vishnu, they laugh and condemn it as a foolish superstition. But when it is desired to drink the ambrosia that is God, don't you require a spoon, a cup, or a glass? The idol is a contrivance by which you can consume the bliss. The cup can be of any size or shape or design. It is just a container of joy. Raso vahi saha. God is ambrosia. He is sweet, sustaining, strength giving. You can imbibe him through a cup designed as Nataraja, Durga, Krishna, Ganesh, Linga, Christ, or Sai Baba. Many of you yearn for a cup shaped like this idol designed as Sai Baba. So I allowed you to have this idol here. This is the Sai form which sat and taught at Dwarka Mai mosque at Shirdi. On Guru Purnima, 29 July, Baba sent a message to the Samitis all over India and to devotees overseas, where he quoted the prayer of Prahlada as an example to be adopted. Grant me, O Lord, the adoration of thy lotus feet, and give me compassion, deep, vast, unlimited, towards all beings in all the world. Start the day with love, live the day with love, fill the day with love, spend the day with love, end the day with love. This is the way to the God. He wrote. During the discourse that he gave that evening at Prashanti Nilayam, he warned against institutionalizing religion and compartmentalizing society. It is good to be born in a church, but it is not good to die in it, he declared. One must travel beyond the limits set by mind and reason and reach the boundless expanse of the Absolute and the eternal Atma, he advised. The birthday of Sri Krishna was celebrated in presence of Sai Krishna at Prashanti Nilayam. Baba has incarnated in order to revitalize Dharma, and this is done through a variety of means and methods. As a matter of fact, every minute of Baba is being spent in correcting some misconception or other that has led man astray, or curing some optical defect which dulls or diverts the vision of a man away from the truth. Krishna is the most misunderstood of avatars of God, thanks to innate lasciviousness of ordinary man and acrobatics of erotic poets who have disregarded even patent facts in order to paint the lewdness they coveted. Baba takes hold of every chance to inject sense into Pandit, poet, and sadhaka so that the mind of modern man may become as pure and as saturated in the divine as the simple cowherd maids of Gokul. Krishna is in you, he said. He is Sarvabhuta Antaratma, the inner core of all beings. If he is not in you, how can you exist as an entity? Baba asked. He is in you as power, strength, love, happiness, enthusiasm, passion, and compassion. Go into deeper, esoteric meaning of all parables and metaphors. Vrindavan is the jungle of life. Individual beings are the cattle. He tended Gokula in the herd of jivas. Krishna is the divine principle that shines in every being, craving for purity that is churned in, full of good thoughts and feelings. He guides and goads. He blesses and showers benedictions. The Vedas describe the divine as streak of lightning flashing through the thick blue clouds. In Telugu, this streak is known as Gita. The Gita activates, illuminates, and spreads splendor and wisdom. Since Baba has declared often that he is the indweller in all, listeners saw before them the Krishna principle itself embodied in Sai form and bearing the Sai name. It is an exhilarating realization. Hilda Carlton of New York expresses it as follows: From out thy lips doth blow the mighty winds that sway the trees in dancing rhythms. And yet again thou art the very trees, whose swaying bough whisper the ancient Om. Thou art the beginning and the end of all, and even before the beginning thou wert. Thou art the ever-ending, ever-beginning life. Thou art the light, the love, and I am thine own thyself. Om Sai Ram. End of chapter 8.